Welcome to The Explainer. If we really want to understand the origins of the modern luxury vehicle, we literally have to travel back over a century to a time when cars were, well, little more than motorized horse carriages. It was this fascinating, wild era of rapid, completely unprecedented mechanical innovation. But among all those early kind of clunky experimentations, one specific vehicle emerged that completely rewrote the rulebook. We're talking about a machine that didn't just push the boundaries of speed and engineering, it essentially created an entirely new class of high society luxury, a standard that endures to this very day. So, we really have to ask ourselves, what was the actual blueprint for the modern luxury car? How on earth did we make that monumental leap from primitive, top-heavy motorized carriages in the late 1800s to a completely new engineering paradigm by the early 1900s? Well, the answer lies in a vehicle that totally reimagined what an automobile could be. It didn't just prioritize raw power, it brought in elegance, stability, and an incredibly innovative concept for its time: user-friendliness. Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp this breakthrough, we need to quickly map out the rapid evolution leading right up to it. In 1886, we see the Daimler motor carriage. Historically significant? For sure, it was the first four-wheeled automobile. But honestly, it was basically a horse carriage missing the horse. Then, jumping to 1897, we get the Daimler Phoenix. This was a major stepping stone because it was the very first car in their history to actually put the engine up front. By 1901, the Mercedes 35 PS hits the scene, and it's widely considered the world's first truly modern automobile. Massive success. But the engineers? They knew they could push the concept even further, setting the stage for the true revolution. Part 1. Engineering the Mercedes Simplex. Let's look at the massive leap forward that happened in 1902. Following the success of those earlier models, brilliant designer Wilhelm Maybach decided he wanted to create something entirely new. But why call it the Simplex? The name itself is actually the core of the whole design philosophy: comfort by means of simplicity. You see, by the standards of 1901 and 1902, driving a motor vehicle was a highly complex, physically exhausting workout. Maybach and the Daimler-Motoren-Gesellschaft intended to change all that by giving drivers a car that was fundamentally simpler to operate. This ease of use was absolutely revolutionary for aristocratic buyers. They wanted a vehicle they could be seen driving through town or taking out for a picnic without having to wrestle with the machinery. The difference between these eras is literally night and day. Those older primitive carriages, they had this awkwardly high center of gravity and were incredibly clunky to steer. But Maybach's Simplex completely abandoned that old carriage silhouette. It featured a carefully designed pressed steel frame that was long and wide. And because the engine was welded directly onto this frame, the car maintained a very low height and a super low center of gravity. That gave it remarkable stability, especially when they started pushing the speeds. Another major, game-changing breakthrough was the weight. Through various clever modifications, the overall weight of the Simplex was slashed to just 942 kilograms. Now, for a vehicle with this much power and physical presence at the turn of the century, getting the weight under a metric ton was a crucial engineering feat. It made the car surprisingly nimble, and as we'll see in just a second, it paved the way for absolutely unprecedented racing success. Under the hood, the sheer technical mastery is just mind-blowing. The 1902 model housed a massive four-cylinder engine right over the front axle, putting out up to 44 horsepower initially. But all that power creates intense heat, right? To solve this, Maybach designed a genius honeycomb radiator packed with 8,070 tiny pipes for maximum cooling. And get this, it featured a state-of-the-art dual brake system that actually sprayed water directly onto the brakes to cool down the hot zones during use. I mean, it was an absolute engineering marvel. Which leads us perfectly into part 2, racetrack dominance and the endless need for speed. So the Simplex wasn't just built for polite park picnics. When racing enthusiast and foreign agent Emil Jellinek got his hands on one, he immediately took it straight to the tracks. What's absolutely fascinating here is the sheer geographical spread and the total dominance of this car. In April 1902, E.T. Stead drove it to a first-place victory at the Nice-La Turbie hill climb in France, averaging 55.2 kilometers per hour. That same year, across the Atlantic in the U.S., William K. Vanderbilt Jr. took first in a 5-mile track race in Detroit. And the records just kept falling. By May 1904, Pierre Decatur's hit a land speed world record of 97.25 miles per hour in Austin, Belgium. Just to really emphasize the sheer, terrifying power of this early machine, wrap your head around this number: 111.8. That is the astonishing top speed, in kilometers per hour, achieved by U.S. multimillionaire William K. Vanderbilt Jr. during a record attempt on the road from Austerlitz to Chartres. Hitting over 111 kilometers per hour in 1902 in an open-air vehicle on dirt and gravel roads, it's simply mind-blowing, and it cemented the Simplex's legendary reputation worldwide. And that worldwide reputation brings us to part 3, the birth of super luxury and earning the royal seal of approval. The prestige of the Simplex skyrocketed to the highest levels of society, thanks in large part to all that racing success. With this car, Mercedes effectively invented an entirely new automotive segment, the super luxury class. Picture this. It's the 1903 Automobile Exhibition in Berlin, and the German emperor himself, Kaiser Wilhelm II, personally meets with the designer, Wilhelm Maybach. The Kaiser is admiring the incredible complexity of the machine, and he famously jokes about the name, saying, "A truly beautiful engine you have here, but it's not as simplex as that, you know." Let's be real. When the emperor is marveling at your engine, you've officially created a cultural phenomenon. The historical ripple effect of this cannot be overstated. The immense size, the raw power, and the plush luxuries of the Simplex basically set the gold standard for the absolute top tier of the automotive world. It laid the direct foundation for the next 70 years of legendary super luxury models from Mercedes. We're talking about a lineage that includes the 630, the 770 Groza Mercedes, all the way up to the iconic 600 model. The Simplex established a level of prestige that would go toe-to-toe with other legendary luxury manufacturers like Rolls-Royce and Bentley for decades to come. So, what happened to these magnificent machines? Let's jump to part 4, Surviving Legends, and where exactly they are today. So the crucial point is, considering they were built well over a century ago, finding an intact Simplex today is incredibly rare. But you can actually still see this history in person. William K. Vanderbilt Jr.'s original 1902 Simplex, the exact one he used to shatter those speed records, is safely preserved and sitting right now in the Mercedes-Benz Museum. It's literally the oldest surviving Mercedes in existence. Remarkably, there's also a fully functional Argentine unit that still features these specifically enlarged wheels, which it used to navigate the muddy, pompous roads of South America over 100 years ago. And the best part? These aren't just static museum pieces. Several original, fully functional Simplex cars make regular appearances today, driving in nostalgic events like the annual London to Brighton Veteran Car Run. Which leaves us with this final thought. We live in an era where modern luxury cars practically drive themselves, right? They're packed with computers, screens, and every creature comfort imaginable. But as we look at today's automotive landscape, how much do we still owe to that pursuit of simplicity from 1902? The Mercedes Simplex proved that incredible power and refined elegance could be combined into a machine that was actually a joy to operate, completely changing the trajectory of transportation forever. It's an engineering marvel, and its DNA still echoes in the luxury vehicles sitting in our driveways right now.